Hello, it's original MaRul, and welcome back for some more FTB Interactions Remastered. Last time I did stuff, been a week. I don't remember. I've been working on so much stuff with this base that kind of hard to remember exactly where I was. But I can tell right in front of me, everything's dead. Let's see what's up. Vines? Is dead? No, they're still good. We've had a blackout. System back on and see what it does. This is why I need to come up with a soft power system. Oh, the other base isn't chunk loaded in here, or is only Weird and Gadget loaded, so I have to go turn it back on. Yeah, I definitely need to come up with a soft power setup. Why is there so much blaze powder down there? Confused eggs, blaze powder. Okay, it's all out of power. So no power at all, either in the old system or the new system. The old tunnel farm. You're dead because you don't have power. There's no diesel. Did the diesel run out? The ethanol ran out? I think I see what happened. I had a cascading power issue. This is the way I chained everything together. This was feeding the power at the other base. The other base was feeding the power. Or I think the main base. So there must have been a main blackout. That's what it happened. Okay, so the main base had a blackout. Yeah, I need a backup. I need a soft power backup. I'll look into that. That's going to be the focus for today. Okay, so how do I kick you back on? This is definitely a very Factorio conundrum. What do I do here? Get power back. Because this is very similar to what happens if you tie all your power into the same line and your base blacks out in Factorio, and then when you try to kick it back on, it just kills itself again because it eats all of its power in production instead of actually kicking itself back on. I have that. Oh no, even the tank of regular diesel is gone. Is empty. I had anything sucking down diesel. Or at least I had disabled most of it. Well, I guess this base eventually ran out of oil products. I had switched it over to the... Okay, so there's a big pickle. Due to produce enough electricity to kick the ME system back on and hopefully get the turbines running again. I also need to kick it on for long enough that the turbines spin up completely. Good. And I think I'm just going to have to hard pump steam. I'm going to just have to divert steam from the actual... Yeah, that's what I'm kind of thinking about doing with the... doing a segmented power system where you have like a soft power system that covers your vital areas and can keep them running at low power. And then you have your main power system power everything else, including the low power system. So if main power goes offline, you still have emergency power. But I was using the old base as that, but since I changed around the chunk loading, well, I don't even know if that did it, because this stuff is dead. Like it ate all its fuel, it ate all its power. I'm I I'm I don't even have an idea how this happened just yet. But one thing I do have is been sitting on these turbo steam turbines that I was going to use for maybe a soft power system. If I do an easy, yeah, I'll steal this one. I need a battery box. I can just replace the oil battery box after I get this back up and running. Oh, I wonder if... No, we shouldn't have run out of hexafluoride. Even at the rate I was drinking it at the last stream, it wasn't that fast. Okay, maybe it was. I'm not sure. I might have caused this problem myself. Well, who knows? Okay, so I'm going to just... a battery. The other type of plug. You are going to supply to the HV network because that's what I want currently going to the ME system. Move. Or actually, no, I should be able to pipe just right out of these. Conduit. Of course, when I need it, I can't see it. I know it's here. There it is. Your fluid conduit. There's power in here. Wow. Do anything right now. Well, I do have some old Spectre coils that generate energy, I just don't think they generate enough. I slap it down if anywhere close to helping. While I'm trying to think of other stuff. Late just to get this flash on for a little while. After. On me right this second. He's got the system. Problem is it going to be able to? Nope, it's already out of power. No, we still have uranium hexafluoride. No, we still have uranium fuel. Can basically back on. That's the wrong plug. Yeah. Back to the work. I don't have the part to make a new network. That's not. This is why I need to work towards getting the infinite power supply. Right, that's barely enough to turn it on. That's not good. Oh, you're... Yeah, I need this to turn on, too. On. Got a segmented system, so it's got... I have to power multiple spots. Okay, that's got enough power. Okay, so... Are you gonna actually stay stable? Probably not. I have a little while. At least that has batteries. Get that kicked on. Oh, wrong thing. If I can get that kicked on and get this kicked on, then I should have access to my Steam. A little while. I need you to push steam into the turbines for a little while. What drive has steam? Uric acid, mana, chloric, hydrogen sulfide. Brick. Oh, we're also out of heavy oil. That's not good. Oh, yeah, that's not good. There's steam. I can put, this is the Essentia drive, steam out here. I don't have to worry about trying to kick on two different systems. Huh, there's enough power for the subnet. All in one system. At least moving steam into the turbines now, but these things have such a long ramp up. Out. An ME chest for fluid. And those have ME drive connectors on them, or ME ports on them. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go with my original idea and see. Now that I've got the steam drive out here, that should help. I'm actually going to have you try to pump into the EV network. Oh. That too low. That work? Only these weren't so slow to break. Don't need any mess. Because these are HV power. And of course, everything faces the wrong direction. Wire cutter. Yeah, I was worried about that. Filter these. I was hoping those would only accept Steam. Put those in the wrong slot. Which ones? Depleted uranium. I mean, that's fine. This is only 1 amp. I forgot it spits out both uranium hexafluoride and depleted uranium hexafluoride. Because this reactor-like system is weird. I even ever connect that. Yeah, now they're at least dumping their power. And it's not spinning, you guys. Oh, you're just... Good. Steam. That's still tough. Closer is still closer. Just a numbers game at this point. How much more do I need before I actually get this to start working again? And now the A system's pulling it too fast, probably. Yep. Yes, I have an extra ME controller from last stream. That works smaller. Power node. Ports cable from the subnet, because at least the subnet's getting some sort of power. Oh, not kicked on. Oh, Not moving steam, though. When in doubt, move the drive down here, I guess. And now, since it's actually trying to move stuff, it's running out of power. And just keep going. Or EV per tick. Or EU per tick. Nope. I want to move the energy acceptor. Now at least moving steam. Downside is I only have 60-some buckets of... Nope. Oh. Even with this blacking out every once in a while, it's still spinning up. Yeah, right. 100, 110. Up. All I can hope for. That system's missing its energy injector, so of course it's not going to have any power. Even if I just get this spin up enough to charge this battery for a while, that's good enough. Halfway. Yeah, this is just my fault for having such a delicate power balance. Not going overkill on power production. Oh, backup rotors, right? Yes, I have the next rotors already waiting. So even if my rotors wear out, I'm still good. Every once in a while, the system hiccups. Grab the plug up here if that will help. The only problem is the system does not have the fuel for this thing. Okay, we're at least partial IV. Still blipping out everyone once in a while. This is the Factorio dilemma. You still have a factory trying to eat the power that's being produced. Actually, oh, trying to suck down power right now. Careful. Could just be, what, plastic? No, you're full of power. Oh, it's probably the farm. Trying to kick biodiesel back on. Even then, that shouldn't be that much power. What I want you to do is start charging so I know that there's some power. Of 2 amps. Seems like it's getting so close. Yep, there we go. We're starting to charge now. And we've only used like 6 buckets of uranium hexafluoride. Definitely overproducing. Waste. Some being blocked there. Yeah. Functioning. Pretty much up to speed. Charging. Yeah, but that's a 16th of a 16th of, or no, I'm making what? One amp IV, 4 amps IV, so that's a 16th of a fourth. No, that's one EV amp. Or times, isn't it? That's a fourth of a fourth. Eh, doesn't really matter. That's barely anything compared to the power I have been generating. I want a good buffer before I start trying to fix this place back up. At least been dumping the uranium hexafluoride back into itself. Full spin. Oof. Finally achieved full power production. What? You not running at full speed. Maybe it was the one that was always lacking. Maybe I had just enough power to push steam to all these ones, but not that one. Okay. At least had 4/5 full power, looks like. Yeah. And the last fifth is just lagging behind a bit. Okay. Definitely need some sort of soft power system that can handle at least the AE system. I don't need to feed the machines. I don't need to feed the other locations. I just need the AE system running. Or if I can make this is all fluid. Doesn't look like I have any fluid interfaces. Hmm. I'm wondering if I can make a vestigial system that I can just power that just handles the steam like this is doing right now. I could just keep this little vestigial system and then I just have to power it directly to kick power production on. And I don't have to power everything else. Okay, we're about the quarter of the way there. Well, at least once it's triggered off, it would stay off now. They're just pretty much worthless right now. But I'm not tearing it down until I know I'm good. Almost up to full capacity. Like approaching a third. Yeah, because I could double the. I have the stuff to double this setup. I do have another one of these, which are the dungeon loot you have to find to build this thing. I have another one, so I could double the steam output, uranium hexafluoride, but that just pushes the issue that I'm currently having down the road. Increasing this system's capacity doesn't fix the blackout issue. Alright, that's going to need to run during the break. But until then, let it run. I will be right back. Alright. Yeah, Club. the idea I'm having is to try to figure out what I need to kick this system back on and try to isolate it down into its own subsystem. So when I go to... So there's no blackout. The worst case is a brownout that stops the rest of the factory from running while this gets reestablished. And then I can smooth out brownouts later. But a hard blackout is what I want to stop from happening. The best way to do that is to say, this system is what will move me from a brownout to full power. I need a system that will go from, or will prevent a complete blackout. So I don't have to do all the crazy stuff I just had to do to bring us back from a complete blackout. So that involves some sort of redundant power system that keeps enough of the base running, but the problem is there, either I have to power the entire ME system, which means I have to produce enough soft power, and by soft power I mean like what runs a motherboard while it's off. Your computer is always on in some way. A personal computer, unless you unplug it from the wall, has what is called soft power. The motherboard has a channel of power running so that when you click the button, you're connecting that power with the basically you're telling the computer to wake back up. But the only way you can do that is by having some sort of flow of electrons always active. This is one reason why I'm an electronic engineer. You have to have a flow of electrons to start a technological device like a computer. And that's basically what I'm going to try to do here. Have a flow of power that is always active, that is enough to start the system so I don't have to forcibly start it. Because this, what I just did is like having to crank a car. We don't crank cars anymore because we use not initiators, starters. A starter is just an electronic motor that takes power from your battery to crank your engine. That's what I need. I need something to crank this engine. But because I need to because right now in the old design that I just have to remantle now, I have to power everything, because then that's the Factorio issue. How much of your base do you have to power to get full power production back up and running? And this is actually something that happened in Mark Pants's newest Factorio video from just within the last couple days. They ran out of uranium. Their entire factory shut down. And when they tried to restart the biggest uranium reactor they had in Factorio, the base sucked all the power, and by the time the reactor ran through its fuel, there was no more fuel being produced. Because all the power that should have gone to fuel production got ate by all the other production in the factory. And that's what you don't want to have happen. That's why you want to have subsystems, like you were saying, like relays. The problem is, because of the rules of applied energistics, it would be annoying to build a relay system that severs the rest of the factory. And have to run, because I'm using a bunch of weird designs. I'm using a main control through a subnet plus vestigial systems. So I've got a main brain, a bus system, and then systems that are floating attached to that bus system that aren't direct attachments. It's weird. This I'm using a bunch of not illegal but less thought after ways of connecting networks together through the use, because I want to be using compact machines so I can have little areas. Otherwise I have to build everything out. And if I want to move stuff, I have to move everything. I like having the ability to make small little movements. Okay, so this is almost to where I want it before I want to start messing with it. Over 50%. Yeah, it's about to kick off again. I'm wondering if I should make that lengthen that. Any redstone? Yeah. What's the power? What's the redstone strength? 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, I could push it all the way out. Oh, wrong bag. Am I out of redstone conduit? Might actually be out of redstone conduit. I'll steal some from this system because I haven't gotten it running yet. Even these quantum rings take energy. I need to just make the creative energy cells. They're super hard to create in this pack, but, well, normally you can't create them, but I can automate them. They might not have the issue that I was going to have. I had those the system can make. Yeah, no, they're physical, so they're just glass, fluix, and energy cells. Might actually be able to automate this, unlike the other stuff from last time. And then you take dense. Oh, but I need infinity. Oh, and Lapatronic energy. Yeah, I don't have LUV batteries. Iridium glass, crystal matrix, dense energy. Yeah, good. That takes a lot. Argon gas, awakened draconium, infinity catalyst. Awakened draconium. Yeah, I still need neutronium. But yeah, not anywhere near that. I was editing the off signal. Yeah. All that does is make sure the battery's is fuller before it automatically turns off the system. Because I have this outputting an redstone signal. This is a big hysteresis circuit. So it kicks off when it hits this part, but kicks back on when it hits this part. That's what all this is. And this is the main control signal. So as long as this redstone torch is on, right? Or Oh, did I accidentally kick it off? Sorry, as long as that redstone torch is off, the system runs. There we go. Yeah, when this redstone signal is on, the system's in rest. Okay. I want to just fill up this battery buffer as much as possible before I dismantle my quick fix. The other problem is I gotta figure out which P2P tunnel I disabled. Because you can't have... So, since I have my main ME controller here, you can't have an ME controller on the same network. This is just a subnet. This just moves data channels from this ME controller to the rest of the base. It does not interact with this system. It just moves its data channels. And that's what's called a subnet. Just for those who are not familiar with what subnets in applied energistics are. It is literally a system for moving data around so you don't have to run big cables everywhere. Because this cable, being a subnet, means it can run 64 times what a cable from this system can do. Or no, 32. 32. These are 32. So each side of this controller can do 32 data channels. This, doing the subnet, means that 32 data channels gets turned into one subnet channel. And that one subnet channel, a cable like this, can hold 32 subnet channels. So it's just it's a very cost-efficient way of tell what's missing until I turn the system back on. I was trying to get ahead of myself. It's just a very efficient way of moving out. I would have saw that. Everything's got to heat back up. How are we doing still on fuel? Wood. It's running low on distilled water. Because I don't have the distilled water drive. Oh yeah, you're powered now. Use distilled water. There you are. The old system freaking out now. There we go. Back full of distilled water? Yep. Because as the steam cools down, it turns into distilled water. And can be just pushed back through the loop. The only thing this loop needs is uranium hexafluoride. Oh, and rotors. So that's the reason why so there's two issues with using these steam turbines. One is the rotors wear out, but the current HSSG rotors I'm using last a pretty good damn amount of time for their energy production. And the other trade-off is these things eat a ton of steam. And the only way to move the steam fast enough is using these AE hatches, which require an AE system to move. I can't just hard pipe it, because there is no piping that has the throughput I needed. So I'm using a system people don't normally. I'm sure I've got enough power right now, but I'm not risking it. Okay, it's almost full. Yeah, that should be good enough. Okay. Now I need to take this energy acceptor back. Get another energy acceptor created in case I need one. Everything's coming back online. Good. All the drives again. Okay, so what am I going to do about this? No, that's enough to make it hiccup. Enough coils just to grab another energy acceptor? Because if I could just run it on phantom power, that would be hilarious. Because I would totally just... That would be in favor of making it another vestigial network. Able to also... I'll figure out a better way to bypass cabling up here. But might as well. Guess I could just run it from there, actually. Fluid interface. You don't like that you don't have distilled water. That's what I'm trying to fix. Fluid tank. No. You? Yes. That's using all its data channels. Let's see. Fluid interface. Cells. Hard. Which one of you doesn't have a channel? Unlinked. You were the channel that I disconnected. Fluid interface. And so it's easier to use for this case. Actually, do I have another? Yeah, I have another fluid. Yes. I want to make sure these systems are energy independent. Lock. Or that at least energy is one way. I don't want energy to flow both ways. No, I do need it's the same issue. I can't just use I can't just slap down on a dimensional transceiver. Storage bus. Fluid interface. Cable. Inline linked. There we go. That's because this is still not enough power. And it's even worse now because I put that interface. Be visible. There's not enough power. All my spectre coils. Yeah, those just aren't getting the steam they need anyway. At least that's getting uranium hexafluoride. Not flashing enough to make it an issue. Flashing a little bit. How do I work around this? Hey, thanks thanks for the subscription with Prime Club. Sorry, having to deal with some admin stuff in the background. Alright. I was trying to think. Trying to think when I got notifications of people being very weird, spamming people. Turned off. Oh, that's what happened. This is supposed to be brown. Yeah, I had the wrong signal. That's why it got messed up before. Okay. Good I caught that, otherwise it would just keep running. Alright, this is passing fluids. This is working. And this is keeping the two systems disconnected from each other. The problem is I just got to figure out how I'm powering this system. But these do not have enough throughput. I'm fine with this not having throughput whenever that system's running. Yeah, this kind of works. Alright, I'm going to call that good for now. Until I see a problem with it. Need another 16x battery buffer. I can finish patching up what I tore apart. And 2 Lapatrons. Good. Okay, I got the parts. I'm pretty sure I need heavy oil running. at this point. And that's not the right plug. Yeah, because you used all your wood. I need to rebuild the wood system. I think this works, I just gotta space it out by 1. Also like to move somewhere else. Water. How many data lines does it have left? And 1. Yeah, I guess just space it out again. Sure. Yeah. Because I was having signal bleed. Trying to control this with a level emitter, but it was bleeding over to that one. Us. Oh, I didn't pick it up yet. Yeah, you're just set to sap. My phytogrow. Wrong one. You needed to be able to craft, and you needed... regular phytogrow? When did I have this running? Set up like that. How was it pulling in stuff? They're putting stuff into this machine. Needed rich. sampling. What have you set to? Auto input. Just because it's disabled? Yes, okay. That's fine. Because you're supposed to make Fido grow when the system's out of it. Low signal. Pretty good. So now it should run until it hits that. I just need another one for over here. So yeah, I was just getting signal bleed. Level emitter. I wanted to be able to do this and have level emitters control these. Oh. Birchwood. Wanted 10,000. Oh. Crafting on demand. Oh, that's 8 channels. 1, 2, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, okay, good. That's a whole data line. Well, that fixes that. And heavy oil's running. I need the birch wood to be able to run heavy oil. And heavy oil then goes to to plastics. That's that's over here. Your oil, right? Yeah. You're cracking heavy oil into its constituent components. You're removing the sulfur, steam cracking. You're breaking it down into plastics. Okay. The only downside is this is the same loop that used to be in the other base that also created diesel. Doesn't really matter. Stuff's been set to biodiesel. And most of the old base isn't actually being used to produce anything I desperately need besides raw resources. Biodiesel kicking back on. Okay, yeah, we've almost got a full tank of a decent amount of a full tank of on our way to a full tank of biodiesel. God, trying to say the right words. Oh, fill, empty, or both. That's interesting. I didn't know you could force stuff. Old moving good. Having issues. Hey Dipsy, welcome in. Hope you're doing well. Your happy stopped. You're not getting canola. You're not getting. Probably because I'm short on canola. Yeah, hope you are too, Dipsy. How are things going with you? Also low on ethanol. I do need to be careful because, yeah, that's a worry. I need to check if the old base is still making sodium hydroxide. That's good. Switch somewhere here. Yeah, all of us are getting older. Well, happy early birthday, Dipsy. And I'm 36 this year, I think. Unless I'm wrong. But that isn't for a couple more months. Alright, kicking back on. Oh, I was hopefully you haven't had to deal with some crippling health stuff like some of us have had to. That's all I can hope. Sodium hydroxide. Oh, I have a ton of sodium hydroxide. Something messed up with the old system. Yeah, it's full of junk. Um, I dumped the fluid capsule in there. I just need to get rid of those. Get rid of that fluid capsule. Because those, I can't put those back in the system. If the system doesn't route those properly, they just are toast. That's one of the quirks of turning mods turning fluids into items. I've already had the same issue with the applied energistics version. Alright, that cleans out this space. So now farm should be able to request sodium hydroxide from here. Make sure the farm is clean. Did I just break that? Nope, it's just hard to see. What about you? Because when the power goes out, this seems to have a nasty... Because the main base probably lost power first. Over to the new base. Just check everything. I forgot to turn up the render distance. But it means it keeps tick lag down on the server because I'm not rendering more chunks at a time. So the world just cutting off is because there's a hard limit on the server that I'm using. So it cuts down on any visual processing the server has to do. Actually, that's why I don't get more lag from the old base. Oh, I was going to check this chest. Oh, they're all connected. Why am I even checking them all? They're all the same chest. They just have multiple physical representations. Once I cleared one, they were all clear. Slowly forgetting how certain mods work, I guess. I had a hectic start to this stream. I think it's forgivable. Yeah, that actually works as a soft power system. Set this to -1 just in case. And let me guess, can you see this? You have access to... No. That's not good. This does not have access to... I mean, it's storing there. This system does not have access to Steam or... water unless it's pushed through. What if I switch these around? So it would be interface fluid bus. Now what are we looking? Can see distilled water and steam. This is an issue. Distilled water is not being excess distilled water is not being transferred or destroyed. Cycler look like... Oh, that's mining. No, never mind. That's the last one. I forgot I'm sending it all through. No, that's chicken. It's the second one. I need to put signs on these things. Okay, this is the recycler cube. Foods aren't coming through. Oh, we got to take another break, and then I will keep poking at stuff. But I'm at least back up to production.